Hi everyone, and welcome to another day of Clues by Sam. We have a medium one again today. It is Wednesday. If you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a logic puzzle game that changes daily, and you have always 20 people on a board, and some of them may be criminals, some of them may be innocents, and we gotta use clues to figure out who is what, and you gotta do no guessing. If you want to try the puzzle before watching, you can check the link in the description, but I'm going to start now. I can see a peek of a clue here. Let's start. Well, we have Martin telling us that Vicky is one of two criminals to the left of Zach. This Vicky name is giving me PTSD from yesterday's. So we know that Vicky is here, and she is a criminal to the left of Zach. There is one other criminal here to the left of Zach who is going to be either Wanda or Zena. And that's why we're going to leave Martin's clue here. But Vicky tells us that both innocents in row 5 are connected. Row 5 is Vicky's row. And we know that there's 2 innocents and 2 criminals in row 5 because there's only 4 people. And we know that there's 2 criminals because of Martin's clue. So if both of them are connected, and we know that there is a criminal and an innocent here, then Zena has to be our innocent, so she will be connected to Zach. And Wanda is a criminal. And now we don't need Martin's clue anymore or Vicky's. Now we have 3 new clues. Wanda's telling us that exactly 2 of the 7 innocents on the edges, so we know now that there's 7 innocents total on the edges, are Emily's neighbors. Emily is here. She has 5 neighbors total, but only 3 of them are on the edges: Jason, Alice, and Bobby. And 2 of them are innocents. But that doesn't tell us who, and it doesn't tell us anything about the other people. The thing is, we already know about 3 innocents on the edges: Martin, Zach, and Zena. With 2 more here, we have 5 total, and there's 2 more that we gotta figure out. So let's keep that in mind. And now Zena. Zena tells us that there are exactly 2 innocents in row 1. Okay, so since we know that there's 2 innocents in row 1, and in row 1, there's 2 people that neighbor Emily, and these 2 people are on the edges, it could be that both of them are innocents. But it could also be that one of them is an innocent and the other isn't. What we do know, though, is that there are 2 innocents in row 1. So if both of them are innocent, then Chris and David are criminal. And most importantly, we know that row 1 contributes 2 people to the total 7 that are innocent on the edges. So that clue doesn't help us that much as well. So let's go to Zach's clue. There are exactly 2 innocents to the left of David. So we know that David is a criminal, at least, because there's 2 innocents in that row. And we don't need Zach's clue anymore. But we can check David's clue telling us that there's only 1 innocent to the left of Chris. So Chris has to be one of the innocents in row 1, since there's 2, and there's only 1, either Alice or Bobby. So Chris is an innocent. But that also tells us that Jason is one of the innocents on the edges that neighbor Emily. So we don't need David's clue anymore. But Chris tells us that a non-number of innocents on the edges neighbor Gus. Gus is here. And we know about 3 innocent neighbors that Gus has that are on the edges: Chris, Jason, and either Alice or Bobby. We don't know who yet, but that tells us that 3, which is an odd number, are already neighboring us. So Emily couldn't be an innocent because she would be another innocent on the edge that neighbors Gus, and that would total 4. And 4 is not a non-number, it is an even number. So Emily for sure is a criminal. And we don't need Chris's clue anymore. Well, let's get to Jason's, which was the one that we read before. There's an odd number of criminals neighboring Gus. So by that, we know that Gus has 2 criminals neighboring him already, Emily and someone here, either Alice or Bobby. We know that if all 3 of these people are criminals, then Gus will have an odd number of criminal neighbors. If not, then only one of them can be a criminal, because if 2 of them are, then Gus would have 4 criminal neighbors, and that would be an even number. So now Emily tells us that exactly 3 of the 4 innocents neighboring Martin are below Chris. Lots of information there. So Martin is here. He has 5 neighbors total. 4 of them are innocent. And 3 of them are below Chris. It can only be these 3, which are all the people that neighbor Martin that are below Chris. So all of these are innocent, and we know that either Isaac or Terry so all of these are innocent, and we know that either Isaac or Terry are a criminal. Now, going back to Gus's neighbors, we know that Katie is a criminal because, like we said before, Gus has 2 criminal neighbors here, and to have an odd number, he has to have 1 more criminal neighbor, so Katie has to be a criminal. And we don't need Emily's clue anymore, but Katie tells us that Emily has exactly 2 innocent neighbors. So we know that Gus is a criminal because there's 1 innocent here and 1 innocent here. Don't need Katie's clue anymore. Now Gus tells us that flavor text. And now we know something about Olivia. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 innocents on the edges, counting either Alice or Bobby, and 7 innocents on the edges, counting either Isaac or Terry. So we know that Olivia is a criminal. What else? Now Olivia tells us that Emily and Wanda have an equal number of criminal neighbors. We know the total of Emily's criminal neighbors, which is 3, Katie, Gus, and either Alice or Bobby. So Wanda has to have 3 criminal neighbors, and the only neighbor left of hers is Paula, so she has to be a criminal. Now, Paula tells us that Zena and Gus have an equal number of criminal neighbors. And Zena has 2 criminal neighbors already. Gus will have 3 total, so Zena has to have 1 more, which has to be Terry. And Isaac is an innocent because of Terry. And now Isaac tells us that all innocents in row 1 are not connected. So Bobby has to be a criminal, or else he will be connected to Chris. And now Alice is our last innocent. And we are done. Less than 11 minutes. All green one, median. Yeah. A really good one today. I don't think it had a theme, but it was a nice one. Nothing really too tricky, because it wasn't a tricky one. But that will be it for today. If you want to see more Clues by Sam, subscribe to the channel, because I will be here tomorrow with more of it. If you try the puzzle, let me know. Let me know what you think. I'll see you tomorrow.